Well, hello and welcome to La Coco Strangiato. I am Coconut Bob, and today we are taking a second look at this little beauty, my very own SVI CAS. Now, acquiring this unit has been quite the pisser so far, because the first one I ordered was in fact delivered by the U.S. Postal Service, but apparently to the wrong bloody mailbox. And I didn't get a delivery notification due to a clerical error, so I didn't know it was missing until Duncan asked me about it a few days later, and by then it was gone. Whoever got it decided to just be a total and not take it to the listed address like any decent neighbor would. I mean, it had to be within the distance of a rugby pitch. So disappointing. So I had to reorder and patiently wait for this second unit, which Duncan was kind enough to expedite. He is still taking orders at this email address, and there is a waiting list as he is a one-man operation. Now, to be perfectly clear, this is in no way compensation or a paid promotion. I ordered and paid for 2 units and got one lesson of people suck and another lesson of some people are bloody awesome. Thanks, Duncan. As always, this video is just me sharing my experience. So yeah, I finally got this, but the big question is,
Will it Coco?
wait, what? Of course we know it'll Coco. That's a silly question. But will it work with a factory cable?
Will it work with
Yeah, give it a rest. So if you haven't watched my first video about modern cassette alternatives, don't worry, you don't really need to appreciate this video, but I'll go ahead and throw a link in the description and up in the corner somewhere. You may find it worth a watch, but your mileage may vary. Basically, the older units were failing to save to an SVI CAS on American color computers. It just acted like it never got the audio signal from the computer, and one owner sent his unit to me for testing. They had commented on the Discord that they couldn't save, and I offered to take a look at it to see if I could figure out what was going on. I'd kind of stumbled across the fact that the simple addition of a resistor across the CAS outline or mic on the cable seemed to solve the problem. Of course, the owner of that unit was very happy to get his SVI back and working with such a simple fix. Another issue I found while I had the unit was that I couldn't use the old multimedia educational titles sold by Radio Shack, like these Disney titles. SVI CAS just wouldn't recognize the files that were downloaded from the Color Computer Archive as valid WAV files, so there was no way to even attempt to use them. So this is version 10 of the SVI CAS, and the current documentation that I'm aware of at this time is for version 8.5. But the interface looks pretty much the same. I'm not sure what all the differences are, but I do know that Duncan has updated the hardware. So this version should be able to save from a color computer with a stock cassette cable. To verify this, I've made a brand new cassette cable with no resistor. And I can verify this with my meter. So I'm on resistance. If I just touch my probes, we get a 0 ohm. So this is my cassette cable. It's not plugged in there. And if I unplug the mic line, read across the terminals, I should see an open 0 load. Okay, so that's an open. There we go. So there's no resistor inside this cable. It's basically the same as a factory cassette cable. I will now, let me get this out of the way, plug in my cassette cable here. So I've got the cassette cable plugged into the back of the Coco, and here you can see the remote, mic, and speaker lines hooked up. So the unit itself is not labeled where they go. You'll have to check the manual to make sure you get them right. But basically the remote line is the small one, so you can't get that wrong. And the mic line goes next to the remote line. Okay, I accidentally went into the menu here. So Duncan even includes this little stylus with the SVI CAS. That's kind of cool, actually. Keep the fingerprints off of it. Okay, well, I am just going to type in a quick little program here. So let's do this, 5. So I'm going to basically do a quick color bar pattern. Set X, comma, Y, comma, C, colon, next, Y, comma, X, colon, exec 44539, which is just going to make it pause when it finishes. Hopefully this will work first time. Okay, that works. My palette is off because I'm in RGB, not composite. RGB. Now that's correct. Just run this one more time. Boom. Any key will exit. Now if I list, you can see it's just a one-liner. All right, so I'm going to go to record. Color computer, down, open. I'll just put it right here. I'm going to name this just bars. Okay, so I hit the record button. It says checking card, ready. So now I'm going to go up here, I'm going to type in CSAVE, quote, bars. I will hit enter, recording. You can see the counter went. When the computer is done, the SVI CAS returns to the pause state, and we simply press the square stop button, which will end the recording and finish writing any buffered data out to the SD card. Go to color computer, enter. Now you see bars is on there, bars.cas. So I will do a quick Control-Alt reset. This guarantees that there's nothing in memory. List, nothing. So now I'm just going to type Claude and hit enter. It's just going to sit there and wait. I'm going to go to my file and enter. I'll just hit play. It's already waiting. Should start. There we go. And it's done. Now if I just type run, can see the bars pop up, and I'm back in the wrong palette because I did my reset. So if I just type RGB and get the correct colors again, beauty. So there you have it. Duncan has successfully solved the cable issue, so any old color computer cassette cable should work, and if not, then maybe you just have a bad cable. Well, all right, that's one major problem solved. But what about those mixed media files? Well, it turns out Duncan went way over and above this time, going and downloading the WAV files from the Color Computer archive. He basically found them to be improperly encoded and then went to the trouble of re-encoding them with proper settings. Cheers again, mate. I'll see if I can get these corrected versions uploaded to the archive. Duncan included a CD with all of those updated WAV files, and I have transferred those to an SD card already. So To use these files, you cannot use the Tandy or Dragon settings. You have to go to generic to be able to open the WAV files. So go up where it says Tandy Dragon, we just hit generic mode. I think all the settings are good as is. So now we'll go to files, color computer, educational. Okay, so we're gonna do decimals with Donald and Dewey. So we hit the open, hit play, and it's ready. Paused. On the computer, CLOADM, enter. Alright, and I'm basically going to go all the way through this program just because I feel like it. If you guys don't want to watch the whole thing, feel free to skip a bit. There should be chapter markers in the description. Loading. Okay, so the captured video that you're watching is actually coming out of a Color Computer 2.
Walt Disney Personal Computer Software presents Map Adventures with Mickey.
So on the real
Decimals with
TV,
Donald
his
and
hat
Dewey.
looks purple.
The great day had arrived. We're off to the Himalayas to climb the world's highest peak. Dangerous, never before climbed, dreaded Decimal Point.
Boy, oh boy.
But why do we have a map of Philadelphia? Did you buy all these just because they were on sale?
For me? No.
What use are they?
You see.
Daisy and Donald continued their discussion of the maps as their plane landed on a snowy runway somewhere high in the Himalayas. There they met their guide, Abe, the abominable snowman himself, and he was dismayed to learn Donald had forgotten to buy supplies.
A map of Philadelphia, but no food, no warm clothes, and no store.
Boy, oh boy.
But what was that? Warm clothes, food, climbing books, Himalayan who? What luck! A traveling department store.
Boy, oh boy. I'll take 2 of these. What's for me and what's for Daisy?
Well, Donald lost no time in choosing warm suits for himself and Daisy. They cost $42 each.
Let's see. 42 plus 42 is,
$462? Donald, think about it. What do you think Donald did wrong?
such high prices. Why, never in my life have I...
Donald, $42 and $42 can't add to over 400. That's not reasonable. Let's see your arithmetic.
Why, Donald, You didn't line up your decimal points.
That's right, Daisy. He didn't. That's a good way to go broke.
For goodness sakes, Donald, when you add or subtract money, you must keep the decimal points in a straight line, right under each other.
How do you line up the decimal points? Well, they soon bought everything they needed. But then...
Donald, I think Abe wants marshmallows for his hot chocolate.
Okay.
Wait, you'd better add everything yourself, Donald. I'm not sure Oscar is, very good at arithmetic. Good so far, Donald. You lined up your decimals. Now put the 59 cents.
Uh-oh.
How should Donald write 59 cents? $0.59 is the same as decimal point 59. Now you can line up the decimal points.
Oh, I see. That's easy.
If 59 cents is the same as decimal point 59, then 83 cents is the same as...
Yeah.
Well, now Donald understood. Then he gave Oscar $90 and asked for his change. How much change should Donald get? Donald, is that all the change you got?
Uh-huh.
I think you'd better figure this one out, too. You should subtract to find the difference. See Abe's problem? Oscar owes you $5 more.
That's right.
Well, with their purchases all made, our brave expedition was finally off for dreaded Decimal Point. And it wasn't long, thanks to Donald's map of Philadelphia, before they were completely lost. Abe tried his best to convince Donald to go east by northeast, but Donald insisted he knew better. And so, what mountain climbing history books have called the Great Mistake was made. For Donald went one way, and the rest of our band went the other. Of course, once he was all by himself, it took Donald even less time to become even more completely lost. And if that weren't enough, a raging blizzard soon made it impossible for Donald to see that he was on the very edge of a 4,000-foot precipice and would have stepped off into sheer space if he hadn't stopped when he heard the avalanche. Suddenly, over, but Donald's troubles had only begun. The avalanche had cut off any hope of returning the way he had come, and the precipice was just behind him.
Uh-oh.
Then... Himalaya to go! What luck! It was Oscar. Or was it luck? I'm having a special sale on road! How much do you need?
I'll take 50 cents.
Fine! I have a 50-foot package right here. That'll be $2.49. If Donald gives Oscar $5, how much change should Donald get back? I wonder what delightful arithmetic mistake he'll make without his friends to help him. But then Donald realized he'd need an extra 15 feet to loop around those crags. 15 feet more? Okay, that'll be 75 cents more. At that, and then throw me the money. Oh, what profitable fun.
Uh-oh. Let's see,
Donald was really being put to the test. He remembered 75 cents is the same as decimal .75.
There.
For goodness sakes, Donald, you must keep the decimal points lined up.
Oh, yeah. Ah.
Good. You're ready to add. If the rope costs $2.49 and 75 cents, how much money should Donald give Oscar? $324? Donald. What did Donald do wrong this time? Wonderful! Just throw me the money! Pretty expensive, right, Donald?
It sure is.
Donald, you did everything right this time.
I did? Oh.
But you forgot to put the decimal point in the answer.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my.
Good. Why, your first answer couldn't have been right because it was...
Incorrect.
No, Donald. Because it was not reasonable. Why was Donald's answer not reasonable? Well, Donald threw the $3.24 to a disappointed Oscar and immediately got to work. Tying one end of a rope to a rock on his side, he lassoed a rock on the other side, and inch by inch, slowly crossed the bottomless chasm. You can imagine his surprise when he reached the other side. There before him was a sign that said, decimal point, 20 feet.
Oh boy, I'm the first.
The first, Donald? How did the sign get there? And besides, look at those footprints.
Uh-oh.
Then when Donald reached the top,
Hi, Donald.
he arrived just in time for a picnic. Well, better luck next time, Donald. Sure enough, Oscar arrived just in time for dessert, but he provided it himself, and free of charge. And so, as our brave expedition prepared to return to the bottom of dreaded Decimal Point, we can rest assured that Donald, and hopefully all of you, will never forget the correct location of Decimal Point.
Well, folks, I think that's going to wrap it up for this video. It's got nothing but good things to say about the SVI CAS. I mean, sure, there's still room for improvement. I mean, I still kind of wish it would do MP3. It's not really an issue. Anyway, it's nice to know that we have an option like SVI CAS to duplicate the experience of what we were doing with these things back in the 80s. So. Anyway, this is an awesome device. I highly recommend you get on the waiting list. Again, it's SVI_projects at protonmail.com. I'm sure Duncan would appreciate the business. And the wait isn't really too long, maybe a couple of months or so, but well worth it if you need a cassette interface for your retro computer. This is probably the best one to have. Cheers, and remember to cocoa every day.